Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Today we'll discuss in detail the secondary structure of protein. Secondary structure of a protein is simply the twisting or folding of the primary structure. As I told you, you simply twist a straight wire, it will become a secondary like the secondary structure of protein, like a telephone wire. Two types of secondary structure, alpha helix and beta sheet, are important. Alpha helix, the salient features of alpha helix, they are: the alpha helix is tightly packed coil structure with amino acid side chains extending outward from the central axis. The alpha helix is stabilized by extensive hydrogen bonding. Individually, these hydrogen bonding are weak, but collectively they are very strong to maintain the structure of the protein. Here you can see the helical structure. This red box represents the CRH groups of amino acid. Blue dotted lines, these blue dotted lines, they show the hydrogen bonds. So this is a helical structure, a secondary structure, hydrogen bonding, CHR group in red boxes. The helical structure may be right-handed or left-handed. This is the left-handed helical structure and this is right-handed helical structure. To confirm it, what we do is make fists of your two hands with thumbs outstretched like this and pointing straight up. Looking at your right hand, think of a helix spiraling up like this. Your right thumb in the direction in which the other four fingers are curled as shown counterclockwise like this. The resulting helix is right-handed helical structure. While opposite, when the fingers are pointing towards the clockwise direction and thumb is pointing upward the direction of the polypeptide, this is left-handed helical structure. Now, among the other properties of alpha helical structure, all the peptide bonds except first and the last in the polypeptide chain participate in hydrogen bonding. So the first and last one, they don't participate in hydrogen bonding. This is an important point to remember. 4. Each turn of alpha helix contains 3.5 amino acids and travels a distance of 0.54 nanometer. Alpha helix is stable conformation formed spontaneously with the lowest energy. The right-handed alpha helix is more stable than left-handed alpha helix because it contains L-alpha amino acids. In left-handed alpha helix, there are more D-alpha amino acid. Certain amino acids, particularly proline, disrupt the alpha helix because R chain of proline is hard to turn in the helix. Other amino acids like acidic amino acids like glutamic acid, aspartic acid, they also disrupt the alpha helical structure. Similarly, the basic amino acids like arginine, they also disrupt the alpha helix structure. Now, beta plated sheets. Beta-pleated sheets, or simply beta sheets, are composed of two or more segments of fully extended peptide chains. In beta sheets, the hydrogen bonds are formed between the neighboring segments of polypeptide chain. This is one polypeptide chain. So this we call sheet. When you stretch a helical structure, it will look like this. It will look like this. So it represents the beta sheet. The hydrogen bonds between the two chains, that is interchain hydrogen bond. You can see this is interchain hydrogen bond. This is also interchain hydrogen bond. This red area, it represents amino acid skeleton, CRH. In your textbook there is a mistake here. In place of hydrogen, it should be nitrogen. Now beta-pleated sheets may be parallel or anti-parallel. You can see when one side of the helical structure of the sheets all are having N terminal, while other the C terminal. This is a parallel beta sheet. This is parallel beta sheet. And when they are in opposite direction, at one side it is N terminal and the other sheet is having C terminal, and opposite in this right side is C terminal of this beta sheet and N terminal of other sheet. So this is anti-parallel beta sheets. This presentation of beta sheets diagrammatically it can be seen in different forms, like this, beta barrel. This is a parallel, this is anti-parallel, beta, alpha, beta. This is a helical structure, and parallel beta sheets, beta, alpha, beta unit. This is like the Greek key configuration of the beta sheets. It will be clear from this picture. This is anti-parallel. You see at the one end of the beta sheet it is having amino terminal. The other sheet here is having carboxyl terminal. Similarly, another one is having amino terminal. So this is anti-parallel beta sheets. Here they are parallel because right side of every beta sheet is having amino terminal, and left side they are all having carboxylic terminal. So this is a parallel conformation of the beta sheets. This is anti-parallel conformation of the beta sheets. An alternative name for this structure is beta-pleated sheet. Now this is the diagrammatic representation of a protein containing alpha helix and beta pleated sheaths. This is alpha helical structure. The two helical portions are connected with these beta pleated sheets. So you simply stretch the helical structure here, it will behave like the beta sheet. The alpha helix and beta sheet structures provide maximal hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonding within the helical structure and in the beta pleated sheets. For peptide bond components within the interior of polypeptide interchain hydrogen bond. The alpha helix and beta sheet are commonly found in the same protein structure. Now, beta bands, also called reverse turns or beta turns. Beta bands reverse the direction of polypeptide chain, helping it form a compact globular shape. They are usually found on the surface of the protein molecules and often include charged residue. Beta bands are generally composed of 4 amino acids, one of which may be proline. Remember, important MCQ. The amino acid that causes a kink in the polypeptide chain. This kink is due to the presence of proline. Beta bands are stabilized by the formation of hydrogen and ionic bonds. In globular proteins, which have a compact folded structure, nearly 1/3 of the amino acid residues are in turns or loops where the polypeptide chain reverses the direction. Here you can see this is a beta pleated sheet, this is beta blend, this is alpha helical structure, this is the region of loop. Secondary structures and the remaining amino acid sequences continue to fold and interact with other parts of the amino acid sequence to form a tertiary structure. We will discuss in detail the different features of the tertiary structure. These are the connecting elements that link successive runs of alpha helix and beta conformation. Particularly common are turns that connect the ends of two adjacent segments of an anti-parallel beta sheets. The structure is involving 4 amino acid residue, with the carbonyl oxygen of the first residue forming a hydrogen bond with the amino group hydrogen of the fourth. The peptide groups of the central 2 residue do not participate in any inter-residue hydrogen bonding. So the bond is formed between the first and the fourth residue. Beta turns are often found near the surface of the protein, where the peptide groups of the central 2 amino acid residues in the turn can make hydrogen bond with water. Glycine and proline residues often occur in beta turns. The former because it is small and flexible, because it has to turn the polypeptide chain. The later because peptide bonds involving the imino nitrogen of proline readily assume the cis configuration. The cis configuration is only because of the presence of proline, which is hard, a form that is particularly amenable to tight turn. Supersecondary structures, which are called motifs. Supersecondary structures are usually produced by packing side chain. This is the R group of the different amino acid from adjacent secondary structural elements. Structural elements in the secondary structure of protein is alpha helices, beta sheets, and non-repetitive sequences close to each other. In globular proteins, approximately half of the structure is formed by alpha helices and beta sheets, while the loops and coil conformation that is called non-repetitive sequences. So they are placed close to each other in the motifs. Motifs may be associated with a particular function. Now, tertiary structure of protein. The 3-dimensional arrangement of protein, like this, when the secondary structure, helical structure, it moves down and up and down. the three-dimensional arrangement of protein is the tertiary structure. It is compact structure with hydrophobic side chains held interior while the hydrophilic groups are on the surface. So the polar amino acids will be close to the surface in the aqueous solution, while non-polar, which are hydrophobic, they will remain inside, interior of the structure. This tertiary structure ensures stability. Domains. This is the region of protein that has the capability to fold independently, and that domain has a unique, distinct functions. Domains are the fundamental, functional, and three-dimensional structural units of polypeptide. Polypeptide chains that are greater than 200 amino acids long generally consist of two or more domains. Each domain has distinct functions. The core of the domain is built from combinations of super-secondary structures element, that is, motifs. Folding of the peptide chain within the domain usually occurs independently of folding in other domains. This is an important point to be noted. Folding of any of the domain is not dependent upon the folding of another domain. Therefore, each domain has the characteristics of a small compact globular protein that is structurally independent of other domains in the polypeptide chain. Now, interactions stabilizing the tertiary structure. This is very important SEQ regarding your university exam. The following four types of interactions cooperate in stabilizing the tertiary structures of the globular proteins. Among these four interactive forces, disulfide bonds have got a great weightage. These stabilizing forces are disulfide bonds, hydrophobic interactions, hydrogen bonds, and ionic interactions. First we discuss disulfide bonds. It's a covalent linkage like peptide. Formation of disulfide bond by the oxidation of two cysteine residues producing one cysteine residue. So you can see here, this is the disulfide bond. This is a one cysteine amino acid. This is the second cysteine amino acid. They combine each other by disulfide bond, which is a covalent bond. So disulfide bond, which is present in cysteine, which is a combination of two cysteine amino acids. Disulfide bonds prevents protein from becoming denatured in the extracellular environment, for example, immunoglobulins. Next, hydrophobic interactions. Amino acids with non-polar side chain, that is neutral amino acids, tend to be located in the interior with other hydrophobic amino acids. So, non-polar, which are hydrophobic, which are neutral amino acids, they are located in the interior of the proteins. In contrast, amino acids with polar or charged side chains tend to be located on the surface of the polypeptide molecule protein. The occurrence of hydrophobic forces is observed in aqueous environment, wherein the molecules are forced to stay together. Example you see here. isoleucine and leucine. Now the third interactive interactions between the different amino acids is hydrogen bond. Amino acid side chains containing hydrogen, such as in alcoholic group CH2OH, CH2OH of serine, can form hydrogen bonds with electron-rich atom, such as the oxygen of carboxylic group of carbonyl group of peptide bond. Hydrogen bonds individually, if you see, it's a very weak binding force between the amino acid, but collectively, because there are so many hydrogen bonds present in the protein structure, that collectively they are very strong. Now similarly, the polar amino acids which are present on the surface of the protein in the aqueous solution, they form hydrogen bond with water. Now the fourth binding force in the tertiary structure of protein is the ionic interactions. Negatively charged groups such as the carboxylic group in the side chain of aspartate, like this, carboxylic group, can interact with the positively charged groups such as the amino group in the side chain of lysine. So the ionic interaction ensues between the negatively charged carboxyl group and a positively charged amino group of lysine. This is ionic interaction. So there are four interactive forces which are stabilizing the tertiary structure of the proteins: disulfide bridges, ionic interactions, hydrophobic interactions, and hydrogen bonds. Thank you very much for today's lecture. Inshallah, next time we'll discuss the quaternary structure of a protein.